Hi, I'm Marcy Brenner, and I come to you from Ocracoke Island on the Outer Banks of North Carolina, and this is my kitchen. I am the daughter of Max Brenner, who ran Brenner's Bakery in Alexandria, Virginia, since 1953. When I moved away, I missed those treats, and I had always hoped that I could get those my recipes one day and make those treats in my very own kitchen. So I started working on them with my dad from ingredient cards from the bakery that were in pounds and ounces. And he helped me understand the math of the ratios. And we began to work it out. We began to bake, and I've baked for a couple of years and developed 50 recipes, the most favorite recipes from Brenner's Bakery in Alexandria. And then I started to write stories. And I started a Facebook group called Brenner's Bakery Memories. And sure enough, there were others that were interested in tasting those tastes again and miss the bakery. My old friend Kristen Donnan, who knew my dad and knew the bakery and had spent her life being an editor, agreed to edit my book, and the two of us produced A Baker's Daughter. I hope you enjoy tasting these tastes as much as I do, and my family. They bring back so many memories of celebrations and anniversaries and parties. Please share pictures of your creation. Thank you so much. All right, hello. Hello, we're gonna make some sugar cookies today. And I have the flour here, and just to show you how I measure, just to make sure as we go forward, that I really just measure by filling up with the cup, leveling it up. So here's my flour. Here is my milk powder. Baking powder, some salt, and I whisk together all of the dry ingredients just to mix them up. Set that aside, and into the mixer we're going to put our shortening. And we're going to fluff this up because we want air in our cookies. Really fluff it up. I do a lot of scraping because it just makes for a nice, consistent, smooth, nice smooth dough. So then I add the sugar to this whipped up shortening. Again, I'll scrape my bowl. The vanilla. So I'm going to add the eggs one at a time. You scrape in between them. Again, just to get a nice, smooth batter. If you feel like you might get eggshells, you can crack the egg into a separate bowl. Right, I'm going to add my last egg. this is my nice, smooth, airy half of the dough with the shortening, sugar, eggs, and vanilla. It's very wet. Now we're going to add the dry ingredients that we've already mixed together. I just saw in my recipe that we're supposed to alternate eggs with the dry ingredients. So I already messed up my own recipe, but as you can tell, it's just not going to matter. We've got a beautiful cookie dough going here. And we'll just smooth it all out. It off of there, and now it's ready to go into the fridge. It's rather stiff. Putting it in the fridge enables the shortening and the flour and the leavening and everything to meld together, and the cookie has less spread as a result. All right, so this is going to go in the refrigerator overnight. Okay, here we are in the shaping stage of our sugar cookies. This was the first cookie I did when I first started the book. And my niece Christine and I baked these up in our own individual kitchens. They both came out great. So we had an idea we were onto something. So I do scoop out my dough using one of these scoopers, but then I roll it with my hands because it just comes out with a nice smoother edge. And I do like this pan because it holds 13 cookies, just like the baker's dozen that my dad always had the ladies at the front give to customers. I'm squeezing this and then scooping it, and then when it opens, it lets it out easier. Squeeze it, scoop it, come out. I have to speed things up a little bit. So then, because I don't want a domed cookie, I want sort of a nice even flat cookie, I take the roundness down just a hair. Not down to 1/4 of an inch, that'd be too crunchy. I like about a 1/2 inch. Just take off that top mound. This is really all you need to worry about. This is one of my mother's glasses. That's my favorite because it has a flat bottom. Plus, I love the owls. And it reminds me of Big Charlotte. We do the same thing with the butter cookies, this technique. It just makes a nicer shape. Now the same dough is for Christmas cookies. You can roll this out and use cookie cutters, and then you would decorate your cookies with sugar or sprinkles or anything else you might like. So if I was going to be making plain sugar cookies like Brenner's Bakery, I would put sugar on these
like so. And then when they're done, put a little bit more sugar on them. So here we are at the icing portion. I had my sifted powdered sugar here, added it very slowly with water, about a third at a time, drizzled in water till I got the consistency I liked, pretty close. Yep. And then before you're there, you want to add in your vanilla. Because it'll also make it a little bit wetter. So you don't want to get it too loose. And I think we're there. It's a lovely consistency. This drizzle icing is for Danish pastries, Christmas cookies, apple cinnamon nut loaf, anything that you're going to drizzle with an icing topping. This is your icing. It's beautifully smooth and shiny. You can make it any color you like. And we're gonna make pumpkin cookies today. So let's give it some color. Well, here is the drizzle icing. I could make multiple colors if I was doing a Christmas cookie array or an Easter cookie or any other occasion. But today is all about Halloween pumpkin cookies, is what my sisters and I called them. So I'm going to make this orange. Get that white off of the bottom or it'll look like an orange sickle. I want it darker orange than that, so I'm going to put some more of this to be a deep orange. So now it's turning a little pink, so we'll add some yellow to it. And that should bring it back. I'm going to be pairing it with the chocolate fudge base that I made. So you can see the colors here pretty good. Orange and black. I'm still going to have a hairy bit of yellow. Just make it nice and bright orange. I like it. So I'm going to put this into a decorator bag, the chocolate fudge base. Now you can use store-bought chocolate icing. You do not have to buy special fudge base and make this the fudge base from the book. You do not have to make the fudge base from the book. If you get store-bought chocolate fudge, you will, however, want to probably add some powdered sugar to it if it's too thin. I like this consistency. Right. So to prep the bag for the chocolate icing, just take your setup, toss it in, take your setup, toss it in, put your tip on. I have several tips here. I have a very narrow circle, small, thin line. There's a star. Here is a larger line and a smaller star. So let's see. We'll start out with the large line to make our jack-o'-lantern face. But as you can see, you can trade out this tip. Whenever you want a different tip, you just open it up and put a different tip on. So we'll try this one first, see how we like it. Just spoon it in. You're not going to need too terribly much for the faces. A lot less than a chocolate top. It depends on how many pumpkin cookies you want to make. Scooch it at the top. And there you are, ready for your line. You can practice on things. You can practice your line. You might make a nose, eyeballs, a mouth. You can sort of get some practice before you do your cookie. So now we are ready with our icing bag, and I'm just going to have it ready to go so that we can ice our pumpkin cookies. I baked them until they were just turning brown. Unless you want a crunchy cookie, you wouldn't want to bake them more than that. These are the two that I put sugar on. They're baked a little bit less. They're going to be a little more chewy. And then you just put some extra sugar on them, like so. And they're ready. I just have some parchment underneath this grate because I'm going to ice these cookies in a fun way that's very messy, but it works great. And you just don't have to worry much about it. Just get some icing on them. You can always scoop up the stuff that goes through, and it wants to spread. I like a nice thick coating. There was always a thick coating at the bakery. And then we'll need to let these dry. Uh-oh. Forgiving. If that happens, just add some more icing. Just spreads right over. I don't know if you remember, but the cookies on the trays always had big pools of icing on the sides, just like this. So now we're going to let these set up so that we can put our jack-o'-lantern faces on them. Okay, these have had a chance to develop a nice skin or a crust. They're very forgiving until they have that crust. And now we can put our jack-o'-lantern face on. I chose the narrow, straight tip. You can practice over here on something else if you want to before you start. And I usually just do a little jack-o'-lantern type of face. I'm not a great cake decorator, and I never claim to be. And that is the Brenner's Bakery iced sugar cookie at Halloween called the pumpkin cookie. But it can be Christmas cookies, it can be Easter cookies. For any reason, an iced sugar cookie is always a good idea. So, oh yeah. Thank you.